Beast, what's up?
Luke! Do you know what today is?
Tuesday?
No, you stupid fuck! Season 2 starts today!
Oh, yeah, I know that. I'm starting it right now.
Get to it, asshole!
Alright, fine. Talk to you later. What the hell? Who threw away a Rubik's Cube? 'Cause I sure as hell didn't. I haven't played with one of these in years. You know, I don't even remember what I came out here for. Well, might as well get on to the review. I don't think I ever finished one of these. Whoa. What the hell? Oh no. Well, well. Holy shit, Pinhead? Hello, Luke. You summoned us. We came. Yeah, speaking of that, where's the other Cenobites? Well, we've been having funding issues and... Plus, now that I think about it, you came here through a goddamn Rubik's Cube. Well, we had to pawn the real puzzle boxes to keep afloat. Times are rough right now. People just aren't tortured easily anymore. Man, sorry to hear that. So there has to be a reason you left the box for me to find. I actually left it for the fat kid down the street, but since I'm here, and you seem to enjoy film, how about you review one of my films? Fuck. I have to meet quota. A bad Hellraiser sequel tortures even the most forgiving horror fans. Fine, what one? Where I go into space. No, Hellraiser IV, Bloodline. Fine, just go away. I'll be back after the review. I better like what I hear. Hello and welcome to Confused Reviews, where Cartoon Drawing reviews movies, and welcome to Season 2. And being that I started the show reviewing Hellraiser 3 with a big persuasion, I figured Season 2 should only continue that trend and start off with Hellraiser 4, Bloodline. Hellraiser 3, the mediocre but still enjoyable film that it was, finished all the backstory series creator Clive Barker wrote for the mythology and story, so it took 4 years to decide to make another sequel, this time the gimmick being that it takes place over hundreds of years, including 1796, 1996, and 2127, following the creator of the now iconic puzzle box. And with that story in mind, Pinhead wasn't supposed to be in much of the beginning, but Miramax executives like money, so they told director Kevin Yagher, more Pinhead. But Kevin knew putting too much Pinhead in the movie loses his mystique and makes him not scary. But executives said, more Pinhead. And since Kevin didn't want that, the executives decided, he's only the director of the movie, I'm sure he won't mind if we fuck around with scenes and delete whole ones to make more room for Pinhead. He also wanted the movie to have more graphic imagery and actually explain everything that's going on. And once he found out about this tomfoolery, he left the project. So, to save the movie, they hired a new director and removed Kevin's name from everything. Great job, guys. You only lost a guy who worked on good movies and TV. This was also the final Hellraiser film to be released in theaters. So let's dive into the movie and see why it caused the series to go direct to video. This is Hellraiser IV, Bloodline. So the film begins where every horror franchise that's run out of ideas begins. Space, in the year 2127. On a space station that definitely doesn't look like it's going to come together to form a puzzle box. Not at all. But the first human we see is Dr. Paul Merchant, played by Bruce Ramsay, who unfortunately isn't related to Gordon Ramsay. Otherwise, his performance would probably be a lot different.
Fuck off you fat useless sack of fucking Yankee danky doodle shite. Fuck off, will you please?
Johnny Five's low-budget brother here also helps the Doctor solve the puzzle box without having the asshole Cenobites show up and kill him. And it also uses effects that look like it should be in a cutscene in a GameCube game. The box then flies out of the retarded Terminator's hands and he fucking explodes. Geez, John Connor should have invested in some puzzle boxes to stop Skynet. Seems to work out pretty well. Pinhead then just shows up and disappears, because we gotta have that guy in the beginning of the movie so to keep the idiot teenagers in their seats. We then get a nice visit from the exposition fairies, because we get to know how Paul hijacked his own ship and a bunch of other random crap in the span of 2 minutes. We also meet Rimmer, played by Christine Harnos. Great name choice, guys. Merchant also really creepily explains what's going on. You know, this guy wouldn't be a half-bad Lex Luthor. Instead, we got this idiot.
Ahoy, ahoy! I did not know you were here.
He then asks if he explains himself and his ancestor's story, if he can finish what he began. So we now set up how the story is told from different periods in time, even though it would be fucking impossible for him to know half the shit he knows that was about the past. Because, Twitter didn't exist back then. But whatever. We cut back in time and to save money, and so the idiot kids can go, he's played by the same guy, and we also see the first finished puzzle box. His wife is shown what it does, and even to 1796 folks, it's not that impressive. Angered by this revelation, he runs off to sell the box to the man who wanted a box that slightly moves back and forth. Worth it. The girl, played by Valentina Vargas, is being thrown a feast by Duke DeLille, played by Mickey Cottrell, and man, he's a creep. Jacques, played by Adam Scott. Wait, did I read that right? The Adam Scott? Ben Wyatt himself? Whoa. Awesome. She then notices the chains on the ceiling and that the food might be a couple days past the expiration date. Jacques then kills her because no one's been killed in a whole 12 minutes since this movie started, and for a Hellraiser movie, that's like an hour. Philip drops off the puzzle box to John Adams here, and instead of leaving, he decides to be nosy as fuck and happens to see what Duke is preparing, the recently deceased woman. We then see the girl being de-skinned, and it's almost entirely off-screen, because that show-don't-tell rule doesn't apply to low-budget horror sequels. The Duke begins the ritual, and the river of slime from Ghostbusters 2 causes the floor to collapse. The ritual is completed, and the girl is now become Angelique, who is told that she's the one who's being controlled. That's not how Cenobites work. They make you their bitch, not the other way around. We then cut over to Someone Cutting, where Philip is talking to Auguste, played by Louis Timor, who is here just to spout exposition and cut up bodies, because gore makes horror movies great. Auguste then brings up the greatest idea in any horror movie.
You've designed a machine that you fear can bring forth demons.
Yes.
Then design a machine that can destroy them.
But instead of cutting to a Home Alone style gearing up montage, we then instead go back to outer space. Yippee. Thankfully, we don't spend too much time with John Doe's brother here, and we head back to the olden days. Phillips heads back to the mansion to find the aftermath of the Shining's elevator doors, and to find out that the Duke and his powdered wig have been killed. Oh no, a guy we've only spent one scene on. I am so broken up about it. Phillips also notices that Jacques is occupied with the Hell Demon, and also sees that the box is covered in the very hungry caterpillar. The demon chick then tries seducing the toy maker.
I want them to play with me.
Like Mario Kart? Monopoly? Oh, she meant sex. Jacques then beats him over the head and demands he be killed. How did he manage to get dressed, untied, and find a blunt object all in 6 seconds? Philip's wifey comes back and, on his way to death's door, demands his child be saved. Back in space, Paul explains how nobody took the puzzle boxes seriously, but before we can get into more detail, we then cut over to another goddamn point in time, this time being 1996, to meet Bruce Ramsay's third character, John Merchant, who is next to Bobby, played by Kim Myers, who you may remember as the girlfriend of the gay kid in Elm Street 2. His wife then tells him how these horrific dreams of Angelique is nothing but bullshit, and she drops a jump scare magazine on the table. Why did they decide to put the music behind it? Did they imagine magazines are the scariest thing ever? To be fair, it's probably the scariest thing in this pile of horseshit so far. Meanwhile in Paris, Angelique wants to go to America to go to Disneyland or some shit when Jacques is still alive? Damn, for 200, he looks good. Anyways, no time to overthink how some expendable character can survive for 20 decades. Instead, she just kills the poor bastard.
It hurts.
Really? Could have fooled me, because you look like you're having a blast. We cut back to New York, where John is granted with an Architecture's Award when, gasp, Angelique shows up. But on a side note, Joey from the last movie put the box in cement, but it's John's past relatives that caused the creative spark to build this building like that. So is it just a coincidence? Maybe there's another puzzle box buried underneath this building that just happens to be there. And because the body count isn't high enough for studio executives yet, she bumps into some random asshole and takes him downstairs. She then punches the styrofoam pillar and finds, what else? A puzzle box. She gets the idiot to fuck around with it until finally, after 35 minutes, we get into something that isn't completely shit. Chains burst out of the box as expected and drags the guy into the bright void, and Pinhead emerges. This should have been the first time we see him. Makes his entrance have an impact and actually excites you. Pinhead and Angelique do some catching up, and we unfortunately cut back to John, who meets Angelique again because why the hell not, and he shows her pictures of Philip's drawings back in 1796. We're then subjected to a really awkward exchange from the two about bloodlines and other dumb shit. Skip. It's night again, and John is off having another nightmare. Jeez, there's more nightmares in this movie than a goddamn Elm Street movie. John is awoken from his slumber by none other than Angelique, who says they must meet again because plot and stuff. And we see Bobby is obviously worried. We get a quick scene from Pinhead, who then kills a bird for some reason, as we cut over to two security guards, twins actually, played by Jimmy and David Schulk, who instantly reminds you of the twins from T2, but no time for that. Also, their names in the credits are literally security guards 1 and 2. You can really tell they spent a lot of time developing these characters. Pinhead has to go on and on about Angelique's current appearance and how she...
You look like death, princess.
Well, she's over 200 years old, you insensitive prick. But anyway, Tweedledee and Tweedledum are also told one of the best Hellraiser quotes.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you.
And the two get seriously messed up, getting stabbed and morphed together. I'll admit that was cool. But we instantly cut back to Bobby, and her son is being held by Pinhead, who looks awful in this light, and he explains how they're live bait for John to come and find. John returns and finds the spinning pillar and chains room every Hellraiser movie has, and finds his family, Pinhead and... Zool? Seriously, a dog? Man, we're only 4 movies in and they're already out of Cenobite ideas. Our favorite nail-covered asshole explains how he wants a portal to hell and explains how the portal will cause him to invade the shithole we call Earth.
Do I look like someone who cares what God thinks?
That line was also pretty amazing. John and Bobby easily escape, however, splitting up so John can face Pinhead and Bobby can play cat and mouse with a dog. Terrifying. She does, however, use the puzzle box on the doggy, and we cut away just to see Angelique has John's son. She tells him to get to the computer and open the portal, and he just does. Off a vague threat. Awesome. Wonderful. Great job, John. So, after pressing enter, it all starts, and, ooh, that looks like shit. Anyways, John gets his son to just run away from Angelique, and she does nothing to stop it. Pinhead is sick of John's shit, however, and, well... he might want to take a few aspirins. Bobby also tries getting Pinhead with the box, but instead Angelique is just sucked into the glowing beam of light and everything just ceases to exist. Don't cut to me. I don't have shit to say about that. Just happened. Back on no one's favorite space station, we are forced to remember that this idiot is telling the story. We then cut back to the very beginning of the movie because they need to make it to at least 80 minutes, and Pinhead and Cue-Ball chat for a while. We're all up to date with the story, and Sandra Bullock here agrees to take them off the ship. Some random guard is then killed and turned into Red Skull, all for trying to be a good Samaritan. That's unfortunate. And, well, we're then subjected to basically a poorly done series of unsuspenseful scenes where the military is killed off one after another after another. Oh, and the twin Cenobites then come apart just to eat one of the guards. Or vaporize them? Some weird shit. Paul and Pinhead finally have a full conversation, and it's set up to be an amazing climactic battle in space. Then, Paul turns into a shitty wipe effect. Even Pinhead is like, what the fuck just happened? It turns out it was all a hologram, because why the fuck not? And as expected, the station was the Doctor's completed trap for the Cenobites. And as it folds together and kills Pinhead, Paul and Rimmer escape to go see Jason, Leprechaun, Dracula, the Xenomorph, and the Critters. And that was Hellraiser IV: Bloodline. Oh boy. So for one, Doug Bradley is, as expected, still pretty damn good as the titular villain, and for the most part Bruce Ramsay was an alright lead, but the rest of the cast is pretty awful, and you don't care about any of them. The effects are weird. Some of the gore looks fine, but a lot of it looks stale and pretty bad, and I assume due to the fact that they wanted to have a huge story with only $4 million, so in turn a lot of it looks pretty awful. I commend this movie's efforts to be different and tell a story over 3 different time periods. For one, the older 18th century scenes are surprisingly well done and look good. The 90s scenes look whatever, but fall entirely flat in comparison, and the space scenes, they suck. They suck hard. It looks terrible, has terrible effects, and all around seems rushed, and again, I assume that's due to the budget. Overall, I'm not a huge fan of this movie, and kind of despise it. If they would have done what they originally intended, which was tell the story in order, starting in the past, going to the present, and finally the future, maybe it wouldn't have seemed so disjointed and overall shitty. I'm going to give Hellraiser IV: Bloodline a D, because its original idea had heart, and there is a teeny tiny bit of good in it. And again, it's not the worst Hellraiser sequel out there. Finally done with this shit heap. Ugh, what now? Good work. Yeah, it was painful, but I made it through. Now, you and I both know what comes now. You leave and I go on with my life? No. Time to review Inferno. That shitty sequel starring Tom Hanks? No. Hellraiser Inferno. Shit. Why do you guys always make me review these in twos? You did the Friday the 13th Halloween and Child's Play one on your own. Freddy and I only enhanced your ambition to do ours. Damn it. Fine. Next episode will be Hellraiser Inferno. Yippee. Good. I'm Confused Reviews. Wish me luck. Thanks for watching.